We're live. What up? It's Garage Goons. You know, the most trash show on YouTube. Episode 20, man. We're chugging along here. Um, a couple people said that, I have an interesting story to tell. I already did, my life story. Um, and I give it to you guys pretty raw and didn't spare too many details. Of course, I left some names out of there and shit like that. But overall, I would say, I got a lot of positive feedback from that. I got some negative, but it was more constructive criticism, if you will. But today, I was just kind of thinking about it. I was spending time with my family. My dad came to my house, and we went and got some grub, and my cousin came out, and we kicked it, and we got some grub too. I did a lot of grubbing today, so I need to hit the gym hard tomorrow because it was not just a cheap meal today, it was a cheap day. But we're getting after it. Basically, in 2020, around November, on my birthday, I learned that I had type 1 diabetes. I had all these weird things happening to me. I guess the number one thing that should have been a red flag, and I just thought I was just whatever, like the most amazing, dieter ever at 30 years old, just able to drop weight by eating a little bit better. I lost bro, I shit you not, I probably lost about 25, 30 pounds in a matter of a month and a half. And so that was red flag number one. Red flag number two that actually forced me to go see a doctor, which I probably should have been looking at already, was I could not drink enough water or juice or whatever. I was always thirsty and I was never satiated. I was pissing like 10 times a day, bro. I was getting up in the middle of the night 2 and 3 times sometimes, not getting sleep because I had to pee so bad. Like normally your body just kind of shuts that shit down. You get to a certain age, whatever. And your body knows to hold it. Unless you really got to go. Sometimes once in a blue moon, you might get up to piss in the middle of the night because normally your body does a bunch of things to tell your bladder, yo, homie, let's just lock it down until he wakes up. That's why a lot of people, if they're drinking healthy amount of fluids, they'll get up first thing they do in the morning, take a piss, right? Well, I was peeing double-digit times a day. And it was so bad to where it got to a point where I was going to work and I had to bring a Gatorade bottle or some sort of jug that was big enough, and also, not to get too graphic, but the mouth of it had to be wide enough to put the head of my Johnson in there because, especially during COVID, bro, not everyone just wants to let you in their restaurant or their gas station or whatever if you're not buying anything, just to let you use the restroom. And God forbid, if somebody's in there, this is the type of piss where every single time it felt like DEFCON 5, yo, if you don't go now, you're just going to piss your pants. And there was no warning. Like normally you can feel like, okay, I'm going to have to take a piss soon. It's a slow buildup. This was like all at once, all the time. And it was getting frustrating, man. So what I found out what was happening when I saw a doctor is that they said, I was looking up online and I Googled it and I came to a conclusion. This could be one of two things. It could be that I have a UTI, which I didn't know males could get, but apparently, yes, dudes, you can get UTIs. If you're pissing all the time, could be a sign of a UTI. But if you're pissing all the time and you're losing a gang of weight and you're not doing something drastically different outside of just drinking a fuck ton of water that you didn't normally have to drink before, like I'm talking, I was going through gallons a day just because I I would drink so much, and the second I put the jug down or the big ass bottle of water or whatever, the Gatorade, whatever it was, I would be like, how am I already thirsty again? Like, this should be enough to hold me up for at least an hour. I couldn't drink enough, man. And what was happening was, I'm not a diet, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not an endocrinologist. I'm not a biologist. I'm just telling you what I experienced in the layman's terms version of what my doctor explained to me was, you're diabetic. And what's happening is, since your pancreas is not producing insulin, your sugar and a lot of the nutrients that should be going through your kidneys and filtering out that way, your kidneys and I think a little bit your liver as well, it's too much. They're used to something that's already a little bit broken down through your pancreas, absorbing the sugar and stuff like that and delivering it glucose to, different parts of the body to be able to fuel it. It's all not getting filtered, and it's overload of sugar all the time. So your body is doing the only thing it knows how to do, which is peeing it all out, which I didn't know any of that. I'm just a dude that was just pissing all the time, and man, it was tough. Oh man, I'm messing up the mic and everything today. Oh, so it was an eye-opening experience. I immediately went into my WebMD / YouTube hole / medical research, tried to be an armchair doctor, trying to fix myself, whatever. But bottom line is I needed insulin. And I needed it, it's not a one size fits all thing, and it's not an absolute science. Some people are very sensitive to insulin, where when it's in their body, it kills and uses up all the sugar right away. Other people need more insulin than other people. But one thing that I have started doing is, I started working out really hard again. Okay. And basically what I would say is that you can effectively cure or self-treat your diabetes through proper diet. And I'm type 1, so it's not like type 2 is completely reversible, guys. If you have type 2, you lose the weight, you start eating right, you start doing the right things, your body can actually say, okay, we're gonna make this pancreas work again. Because you're basically how type 2 starts is you overload your pancreas for too hard, too long, and eventually it's like, yo, homie, I quit. Like, here's my walking papers. I can't do this shit anymore. This is an abusive relationship. You're just pumping me full of nasty shit that I'm not supposed to deal with like that. So, but type 1's a little different in that it can either A, be genetic, which is majority of the case, or B, what I think happened to me, because I never passed out from low blood sugar in my life. And it's not like I'm always eating all sugary things and just keeping myself super saturated with sugar all the time. So what I think is back in like 2017-ish, I had walking pneumonia, and I had it for about a year. And it went untreated. I was dumb about it, typical male ego thing. Oh, I'm just a little sick. It'll pass, whatever. And I think what happened is it attacked and settled in my pancreas and basically destroyed it. And that is another way. If you have an infection or a disease or something that attacks your pancreas, it can knock it out. It can effectively make it non-functional. So I never had type 2 diabetes. I was never overweight to my knowledge. I mean, maybe when I was like younger, before I hit puberty, I had that awkward kind of chubby phase. And then, I've had periods of my life where I've gained weight, but it was always, I tried to get up to 220 when I was trying to play college football. I tried to, I've bulked before, I guess technically by the letter of the law, I've been like above 25%, body fat at certain points in my life. But I was never a kind of candidate that you would see that would have type 2 diabetes. So they diagnosed me with type 1 diabetes. And nobody, by the way, nobody else in my family ever had diabetes. So that also makes me think, like, I don't think it was genetic. I mean, I feel like I would have seen some other signs within 29 years of age of having diabetes, but that's neither here nor there. There are certain days, a lot of days actually, I would say 50% of the days. No, maybe not that much. Maybe it's a little less, but there are certain days where I don't take any insulin, and that's not me being reckless. When you have type 1 diabetes, the doctor, well, at least my endocrinologist, maybe somebody else got different advice, but what I was told, and I think this is standard practice, is you check your blood sugar before breakfast, you check it before lunch, and you check it before dinner, and you check it before bedtime. And a healthy range generally is thought to be between 80 and 120. Now, don't ask me what that number means. I don't even pretend to understand it, but I know 80 and 120 is the amount of healthy amount of blood sugar or glucose to have in your system, your bloodstream at the time. So if you have between 80 and 120, that's generally, that's your target range. That's where you want to be. Some endos and doctors have even gone on to say they think that 130 is still a healthy range. Listen, you guys can look this up for yourselves and do your research if you're interested in it. I'm sure maybe if somebody knows a diabetic, or if you're watching this and you're a diabetic, maybe, share it with other people that have diabetes. But one thing that I've found is that I don't have a desk job, and the fact that I stay active at work, I think helps exponentially. I'm burning calories. I'm sweating. I used to do construction. Now I'm a maintenance electrician, so it's way less demanding than construction. Doing electrical on new job sites and doing maintenance electrical looks like a joke comparatively, but you still have to be good at your job to do what I do. But I will say it's still active. I'm still out and about. I'm still fixing shit all the time. I'm not sitting in office doing paperwork, getting fat, snacking, and doing that all day. I don't have time, man. Sometimes I'm up in a lift 70 feet in the air. I don't have time to reach down and grab a bag of chips. I don't have time for all this stuff. So the title, yeah, it's a little clickbaity, but what I would say is that the whole point of diabetes, right, when you have it, that's a sign or whatever that you have it, is that your blood sugar is going to be high if you don't take a proper amount of insulin before each meal. I lately have gotten into some of the best shape, I would say, since my fighting days of my life. And by the way, my fighting days were like 10 years ago. I'm 32 now, so it's hard to that's significant to me, because your metabolism, your testosterone, everything at 22 is a lot different than 32, and it's a lot different at 32 than it is at 42. So I'm trying to lead the healthiest lifestyle possible. I during the pandemic, somebody stole my credit card or whatever, got the number for it, right? And that's what my gym membership was attached to. And they were charging me every month. And some of those months, we weren't even allowed to go. It was just like, you're paying so that for no reason, essentially. What they should have did was froze everyone's membership. And I understand their business. They got bills to pay. I get it. But bro, if no one's coming in the gym, don't charge me for a gym membership if I can't use my gym membership. If you're telling me I can't come inside, and then for a while it was, okay, we have this outdoors thing that you can work in with a mask. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not whatever your stance is on that. I'm just personally, when I'm sweating and I go in the gym and I want to work out, the last thing I want is something over my mouth that I feel like is going to get sweaty and nasty and maybe cause acne and also make it a little bit harder to breathe. I'm already, I'm not a Olympic marathon runner. I don't have crazy cardio like that. I need my whole mouth to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't have something covering me up like that. I guess I could have worked out with it, but I like to push it in the gym. I don't want to go in there. Yo, if I'm not breathing hard at any point in the gym, it's not a good day. So what happened was when when it got stolen, I canceled the card and I just never updated it. And the gym kept calling and saying, oh, yeah, you're late on payments. And I was like, just ignoring it because I'm like, man, fuck these dudes. Like, I don't need this right now. I'm not going to get my money's worth out of it anyways. I'll deal with it when all this stuff goes away. Well, by that time, my dumbass procrastinated too long and was too stubborn about it. So they canceled my membership. And why I was so stupid was I had this crazy rate, dude. I had a membership at a really nice gym and it was $10 a month. Bruh, the amount of kicking myself I do all the time thinking about that rate when I pay $25 a month now is nuts. I can't. But one thing I will say is when you pay $10 a month, I'm not money motivated that way, but it hurts a little bit more if I skip a day and I think about, man, I paid $25 a month. I basically pay $1 a day for this. If you pay $10 a month, you're like, I can go 2-3 times this week. I already got my money's worth, so it is a psychological advantage to pay a little bit more for a gym membership in that respect. But yeah, of course I would like that rate back. I didn't get it back. I'm paying $25, like I said now, but I rejoined the gym in March, and credit to my fiance, my beautiful fiance, Shannon. She was talking about wanting to get in better shape and start working out and go into the gym and stuff. And I said, well, I can't be the only one in this household not going to the gym. I used to be gym guy, right? So I joined with her. And they had this whole debt forgiveness, whatever thing. If I paid $25 a month for like a year, then they would forgive the debt I owed them from when my credit card got jacked. So I started going in March. I was 207 pounds. I'm 6'1", and I'm 32 years old. Okay. And what I will say is that some people have told me I look bigger, but they mean that. But everyone that's like, oh, you look bigger. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I'm trying to eat. And they're like, no, not like that. Like, you look more muscular. And I say, thank you. And some people say, hey, man, you look real lean. What are you doing? And that's because since I've been going in March, I've been walking a very fine line of burning fat and gaining muscle at the same time, which most people think is next to impossible to do. And it's very hard to do. I'm not going to lie. There's no quick fix solution to burning fat while building muscle at the same time, because the reality is your fat and your muscle are both created by calories and they're both forms of energy storage, right? So your fat is stored energy. You don't need a whole bunch of stored energy to function. You just need energy now. You need the energy from your food. You need a little bit of fat to be healthy. And then outside of that, you just need to lead an active lifestyle and eat properly. And so what I started doing is I started logging every single piece of food that I put in my body. So I already am active at work during the day, which is helpful. It's irreplaceable, the fact that I have to be somewhat active every day. Like if I skip the gym, I still had a more active day. I hit 6,000 steps a day every day, easy at work. And I probably burn, between 200 and 500 calories a day just from working. Excess calories beyond my maintenance calories, which is the calories that you just naturally burn from breathing and your heart going and your organs working and your eyes blinking and all that stuff. So I started exercising, 4 to 6 days a week. Most days I would say it's like 4 to 5. Some days I'm feeling really great. I don't need that second recovery day. I'll go 6. And then on top of that, when you log food, when you talk to your endocrinologist, they'll tell you, at least mine told me, stay away from grains and stay away from potatoes. Everybody's body is different, and you're going to react to different food groups differently. But generally speaking, the starchy, carb-loaded foods that are filled with, a whole bunch of carbohydrates and sugars are not going to be conducive to having a low blood sugar, because carbs convert to sugar after they're digested. That's how they work. But you can also use carbs if you're active and burn them before they turn to sugar as well, and you utilize that energy, which is why you'll see there's some pre-workouts or BCAAs or something like that have a few carbs in them. And you're thinking, why does this thing have carbs in there? Because so you can get a little extra energy on top of the caffeine or whatever they're pumping in there for your workout. That's what the point of that is. What I found is complex carbs, the carbs that are in beans, the carbs that are in brown rice, the carbs that are in jasmine rice. I don't eat too much white rice, and I don't eat too much like wild rice or rice pilaf. But for me, I'm okay with brown rice. It works for my body. I'm not saying it'll work for you if you're diabetic. It works for me. Also, when I say brown rice, I'm not eating a mountain of this stuff. Like, it's not like I'm going to Panda Express or whatever and getting like half rice, like a pound of rice with my meal. I'll get, they have those instant rice cups that like you throw it in the microwave for a minute, boom, instant rice. And it's, I don't know, if I had to guess, like maybe 50 grams of rice, maybe less. I'm not sure, but it equates to about 200 calories. Either way, that is okay with me. I eat that and it doesn't totally spike my blood sugar long term. It'll go up at every meal I eat. My blood sugar will go crazy right after I eat it. But that's why I have to wait the 4 hours so my body can use it naturally, rather than using the help of my pancreas to kind of filter and delegate where the carbs and sugars are going and eat them up. I actually have to actively use them up. So I have to be more active. And you have to eat healthy. And there are days I go where I don't take any insulin, because every time I check my blood sugar, I'm between 120 and 180. And then in the morning, I'm always a little bit high. I was told that was a little bit, that was normal, because your liver secretes sugar while you sleep in the night. I don't know the science behind that. I just told, like, yo, you could eat the leanest dinner ever and you're still might wake up a little bit high in the morning because your liver naturally secretes sugar. I'm sure being young and having testosterone, which I got my levels checked. That was one of my first concerns, because type 1 diabetes can affect all different aspects of your hormones. It is a hormone affecting ailment, and it is a hormonal disease, so to speak. So it can negatively impact you. So it's important to make sure that your hormone levels are in order, which mine are. Mine are, unfortunately or fortunately, I guess I should just be grateful for where they're at. They're like completely average, bro. I was hoping that, selfishly, in some weirdo way, I was either hoping I'd be like super high, like, oh yeah, you look at me, I'm a well-oiled machine. Look, I'm ready to kill this shit. And then, or I was hoping it was kind of on the lower side so I can get TRT, just feel like a 21-year-old again. You know what I'm saying? So, however you want to look at that, it was right down the middle. Super, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I checked pretty much everything, and it gives you a range, and everything was within range. And my total testosterone was like 495. And it's like, normal is between 200 or 300, something like that, and 1,000 or 1,100, something like that. And I was like dead center in the middle, so that was not a problem. Thank God. So I'm not working with crazy genetics and have all this free test that's like, I can just pack on muscle, right? So how do you burn fat, gain muscle in the same time, and also be cognizant of your diabetes? Well, I cannot stress this word enough. Protein, and more protein. Protein helps with using up sugars. The more protein you have in your system, doesn't necessarily cancel them out, but it definitely helps with digestion of them and not keeping them in your bloodstream and raising your glucose levels to unhealthy levels. And it also too, if you're hitting the weights, the more protein you have, generally speaking, the better. I subscribe, and I've heard all kinds of studies. Some say 0.8, some say it's 1 per lean body mass, whatever. If you're trying to lose weight, some people think, oh, you need to just cut calories. If your only goal is to lose weight, fine, cut calories. That'll work. Calories in, calories out. If you're burning more calories per day, so if you're a male, a general rule of thumb is it depends on your age, height, and all these things, right? So talk to your nutritionist, talk to a doctor, but like the rule of thumb is most males function on around 2,000 calories a day. That means if you did absolutely nothing, rolled out of bed, took a piss, went to work, then went home and watched TV and did like nothing all day, you're burning about 2,000 calories. That's like for your heart, again, for your organs, for breathing and all the other stuff. You go through 2,000. Okay, so if you're eating more than 2,000 calories a day and you're doing nothing else, you're going to gain weight. If you're eating less than that, you're going to lose weight. It's real simple. I know there's a whole bunch of different diets and theories out there, and carnivore and keto and South Beach and what's the other one? Paleo, the warrior diet, like all these different things, fasting. There are certain scientific advantages to following a certain diet, but every diet works off of the basic principle of calories in versus calories out. If you're trying to gain weight, you need to take in more calories than you use daily. And if you're trying to lose weight, you need to take in less calories than you're burning, than you're using, or whatever. You're trying to be at a calorie deficit, so below 2,000. So that way, if you do nothing else, your body will naturally burn some of your fat because it needs to use that for the energy to allow you to keep doing what you do. So, but Tyler, okay, so gain weight, lose weight. What if I'm trying to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time? That is $1 million question. So again, I said protein. I subscribe to the idea that 1 gram of protein per body pound, per whatever you weigh. If you're 200 pounds, 200 grams of protein. I try to hit 200 a day. I'm at 194 right now. I'm sticking with 200. It seems to be working for me. If I plateau, maybe I'll try to bump up the protein, and I'll try to cut out some of the other foods that I enjoy that are not like super lean, protein dense food like rice and stuff like that. And by the way, you need carbs too. It should be I guess you don't need carbs. There are people that do great on keto and they function fine, and it's basically a carbless diet. Same thing with carnivore. Okay, fine. But I think for average people that are just trying to figure out, they've tried a whole bunch of diets, they've tried Atkins, they've tried all these other diets I was talking about, nothing's worked for them. I think what you need to do is download. There's so many good apps. There's like MyFitnessPal, whatever Apple uses, whatever Lose, it's a really popular one. I personally use one called My Net Diary because it's the most, I guess, like all-encompassing nutrition / exercise. Like you can literally scan food that you're eating, weigh it, and eat it, and it'll tell you the exact nutrients in that food. Also, you could log your exercise, and of course, it's going to be. You have to allow yourself some grace, bro. Like if it says you're in 100-calorie deficit, like it'll give you like a goal. You could put your goal in there, what you want to weigh, and then it'll give you a suggested amount of daily calories you should be taking in to hit that goal by the time you want to hit it. Of course, there's going to be you have to allow yourself 100 or 200 calories for a mistake, right? So it's better if you're trying to lose weight, be on the calorie low side. A little lower is better than right on the money, because you could have forgot, like, oh, I cooked this with vegetable oil and I forgot to log the oil. That's a factor a lot of people don't think about. Oh, I had a snack and I forgot to put it in. That happens to everyone every day. You might eat something that you forget about, or you might be in something that you ate that's not taken into consideration. So you got to look at all those things, and as time goes on, you'll get better and better at knowing what's in what food and how you can utilize which foods to help you achieve your goals. So for me, slow and steady, man. I am not a patient person. I've gotten discouraged. Here's another thing, guys. Don't believe the scale. The scale, numbers don't lie, but numbers don't tell the whole story, guys. The scale is so misleading. If that is your main metric of success, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because in my opinion, you should take pictures of yourself. Because if you're hard on yourself, I mean, you're not going to believe it when other people, if you say, "Hey babe, do I look better than before?" They're going to be like, "Yeah." And they could mean it with all their heart, but you're going to be like, "Well, they just think that. I'm not that, I don't look that good." But if you take pictures of yourself and you look at the old picture and then you look at yourself in the mirror, or you have two pictures and you can compare them to each other, you can see objective differences in the makeup of your body. And that will tell you more of a story of your progress than the scale will. Because if you are successfully losing fat and gaining muscle, it's likely that you might even gain weight or stay the same. And you're going to think, well, man, if I'm not losing weight, I'm not doing good. Well, let me ask you this. Are your pants fitting tighter? Were you one of those people that was between a medium and a large, and now you're definitely a medium? Were you one of those people that was between a large and an XL, and now you're definitely a large in the shirt? Were you a size 34 pants, and now you're size 33 like me? Like, I'm going through this, man. My shit's sagging off. I got to wear belts with everything, dude. Those are telltale signs that, you're doing a good job, and keep at it and look in the mirror. You might even weigh more than when you started. That's not failure. You can't be too hard on yourself. You've got to allow yourself time for this to work. For me, I've been very diligent about logging every single thing I've eaten and making sure that I stay active and that I stay motivated. And one way I do stay motivated is, again, this goes on not being too hard on yourself. Allow yourself a cheat meal a week. Go crazy. If you have something that you absolutely love, I'm not saying like, go to Hometown Buffet and see how much you can fuck it up and like see if you can get like 6 plates going. But if you have a certain junk food that you just love and it's hard for you to quit, it's mentally going to be taxing, because you might live with another person that's not on the same fitness goal as you. And so it's unfair to ask them to not have something in the cupboard, but that's also hard to open up the fridge or the cupboard and see your favorite snack every time you open it up. But if you allow yourself one cheat meal a week, that's something to look forward to. And also, you don't feel like this is like something that's not sustainable. I can't do this diet thing forever because I just miss tasty food so much. So what you got to do is set little treats for yourself once a week. Don't go crazy with it. Don't do a cheat day, because you can literally undo all of your other days of hard work if you have a whole cheat day. Because if you're like me and you're the inside of you is a fat kid, bro, I can eat 6,000-7,000 calories in a day if I really wanted to. Like, there's maybe one day a year where I really just let it go. And that's like, well, maybe 2, like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Hey, listen, sorry if I'm on a diet, that shit's going out the window. But outside of those days, I'll go to my favorite place is Popeyes, dude. I love Popeyes, Louisiana chicken. So most of the times on Sundays, I'll go there and I'll have a Popeyes meal. I'll have a spicy chicken sandwich or 2, or I'll have the 3-piece combo. Oh man, I love Popeyes. So you got to reward yourself too, because it's a journey and it's a lifestyle. It's not like you hit your goal and you're done. It has to become a part of your routine. And also, in the meantime, when you experiment with stuff, you start having, maybe you get away from pasta because pasta is really starchy and, not so nutrient dense and it's full of carbs. Maybe you start eating zoodles, zucchini noodles. Maybe you start trying spaghetti squash. Maybe you start having, cauliflower pizza instead of normal pizza, or super thin crust, something like that. You start to find foods that might agree with you and not spike your blood sugar too much. that will also be conducive for staying in your calorie deficit, meaning below the amount of calories you need to have daily in order to burn fat. Now, how do you build muscle? You have to lift. You have to lift. There's no choice. You can't. I don't care what anybody says, bro. You're not going to be able to run. You're not going to be able to play basketball. That's all great. And you might tone and you might look shredded. And that might be your goal, and that's okay. If you just want to have deep cuts, do sports, do running, do something that you enjoy, rock climbing, whatever. But if you want to actually pack on muscle, you're going to have to lift. You're going to have to lift, do resistance training, hit the gym, hit your main muscle groups, your legs, your back, your chest, your arms, and your core, obviously, and make sure that you're really pushing yourself. You got to make sure you're pushing yourself. If you're going to the gym and you're not struggling on that last set, that last rep, and it feels like you might fail, you could go harder and you'll see results lifting regardless, but the results you see will be exponentially more if you're going to almost failure every time to where you're struggling to push it. You have to, it's a challenge, but it becomes fun. It is painful at first, and some people, it took me a full month to fall in love with the gym again. I was like, man, I signed up because my girl's going, I don't like this. Now I'm addicted, bro. I gotta go. I love it. I look forward to it now. But like, it's going to take some time because initially your body is going to be screaming at you, no, this hurts, I'm sore, you should quit. You just got to keep going. I promise you, on the other side of the pain is pleasure. Like, eventually you get into this clearing, you hit a rhythm, you stop being sore for a full week. You still get sore, but you stop being sore for a full week, and you're all stiff and you don't want to get out of bed, and it hurts to walk because you did squats for the first time in your life or in years. Don't ego lift. Don't look around and worry about the other guys. Just do what's challenging to you. And eventually, you will see results. Don't fall in love with the scale. And don't allow your mind to play tricks on you and tell you can't go into the gym today. You need rest days. Don't get me wrong. You shouldn't be going in there 7 days a week. You probably shouldn't even be going in there 6 days a week. Go to the gym 5 days a week. Get some cardio in. Hard cardio 2 days a week. The rest of the time, focus on your resistance training, and you will see results. And make sure that you are getting in your grams of protein. If you get in a gram per pound of body weight a day, you will build that muscle. Your muscle will stay, and it will eventually build because it has no choice. When you push it, you are giving it no choice but to build. You got to give it no choice because its first reaction is going to tell you to stop. It's going to scream. It's going to have lactic buildup. It's going to make you sore. It's going to make you want to quit. If you push through that, your muscle will have no choice but to keep going, and eventually you'll stop this losing franchise. You'll turn around. You'll win. And if you eat protein-dense food, I'm talking fish, I'm talking chicken. If you are plant-based, definitely look into pea protein. I would say soy. I'm not a big fan of soy protein, especially for men, because it does have some negative hormonal potential side effects. But definitely pea protein is great for plant-based guys or girls. But if you're open to eating meat, or you're pescatarian even, which I think is a fish, right? You can eat fish on that. Lots of fish. You don't have to get the most expensive, Atlantic salmon, deep sea bass. You can get the cheap, whitefish or rockfish or whatever's on sale. Obviously it might not taste as good or cook up as good, but you're trying to get it in there. Cans of tuna are still pretty cheap last time I checked. That's great. Low calories, high in protein. Chicken, like I said, chicken breasts are probably the best, but like people make a big deal out of like, oh, it's got to be, boneless, free range, organic. Dude, buy what you can afford to buy and eat that. If it's chicken, yeah, breast is better than thighs. Thighs is better than wings. Fine. But get you some whatever kind of chicken you can afford, man. and start making your lunches, man. The number one thing that's hard to do is if you go to work and you're tired, you don't want to do it, you're going to go to McDonald's, man. You're going to, it's just when you're there, it makes too much sense. It's cheap, it's filling, it's everywhere, and it's so hard to pass up if you didn't make a lunch. If you make a lunch, you're going to say, hey, man, I already made this. I don't want this food to go to waste. I paid for it. You're going to eat it and then weigh everything out. If you can buy a scale, they're pretty cheap, like a food scale, and weigh out your food and start logging it till you get comfortable enough to where you can look at stuff, assess whether, okay, that's looks like 100 grams or that looks like 6 ounces, whatever metric you're going to go by, and then log it. And so you can understand nutrients, you can understand food. And, I don't have to sit here and say, especially for you diabetics out there, you can't have the chips. You can't have the snacks. You can have snacks, but you can have healthy snacks, the salty, crunchy, starchy stuff. You want to try to avoid that. But the good news is there's a bunch of stuff out there that are healthy alternatives to that stuff. Rice cakes, a little bit lower in carbs than a bag of potato chips. And then you have two and you feel good. It's a little bit salty. It's a little bit, Skinny Pop or the Orville low butter, low salt, whatever one, low calorie one. Great. That's fine. It's, you can have a bag of that and it'll be like 100 calories. There's certain things that you can do to satiate that kind of craving or urge you have for that kind of snack. And it's really hard. And also keep in mind, you have that one cheat meal. So, hey, man, I can't wait for that Domino's pizza, or I can't wait for that Taco Bell. I can't wait for that, whatever your vice is, the donuts or whatever that I'm going to have for my one meal breakfast once this week. Whatever that meal is, do it once a week so you have something to look forward to. So that way, when you're looking in the cupboard and you see the snacks, you're going to be like, it's not worth it now, but I do get to do something bad or something against this stupid diet at the end of the week or whenever the day comes. Have one meal, you look forward to it, you keep your sanity, and then the rest of the time just be in a caloric deficit and make sure you're hitting your protein 1 gram per pound. And that's especially if you're trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Guys, I started this journey in March. It's now almost July. I started beginning in March. It's been a slow process. I started at 207. This morning I weighed 194. So I've dropped 13 pounds. And the reason I know I've gained muscle, from one, like I said, my mirror pics, my arms are bigger, my legs are bigger, but my waist is smaller, and all my lifts have gone up. Every single one. I'm curling more, I'm squatting more, I'm benching more. I'm doing more on lat pull downs. I can do more dips when I do dips. I can do more hip thrusts and more weight. I can do more. I'm maxing out the calf machine. I'm putting 325 on the squat rack. I feel good about myself, man. And I'm not the strongest guy in the gym by any means, but I'm starting to like more and more what I see in the mirror. It makes me feel better about myself, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And to be honest, with the pictures I see, even if the scale didn't change the 13 pounds, that's great. I'm happy about that. I'm proud. But even if it didn't say a damn difference, if my body looked the way it did now versus how it looked, you could look at how I look, 6 months ago in videos. It's not like this, bro. I feel good. I feel like I'm looking better, and I'm proud of my progress. And you should be proud of yours too. And be patient with yourself. Allow yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself. And also just make sure, especially diabetics out there, you're checking your blood sugar, you're consulting with your dietitian, you're eating protein-dense foods, chicken, fish, steak, protein powders, whatever, and you're making sure that you get your grams of protein in, and you will build muscle and lose the fat and, keep your blood sugars down. That's all I got. Most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons. Like, comment, subscribe, share this if you got diabetic buddies, and most trash show on YouTube, man. Thanks.